Howdy gamers, let's talk about the runes for Pyke's support and I suppose mid lane too. Mainly for support, his dominant keystone last season was Aftershock as it offered him a lot of bonus resistances, a lot more than it does now, and it was more impactful with how his kit functioned. Now I don't think it's as valuable as just having extra damage through something like Hella Blades where you gain the extra damage every single hit. With Aftershock, it puts you in the resolve tree, which Pyke also doesn't make the best use out of. You get Aftershock, which whenever you CC a target, you gain bonus armor and magic resist, and then with that, you also can deal a little bit of damage too. The benefit of Aftershock on Pyke is if you're using your E flash onto multiple targets, and then in team fights as well, you also have a bit of the benefit there. But you should really be all inning Pyke's early game, and that's what the Hello Blades page does. So again, with Aftershock, you end up in the resolve tree. You have Aftershock, and then for the secondary rune, you can have Font of Life. Not that highly synergistic with Pyke, as you're only really slowing or stunning the enemy 2 times versus basically all the time as other supports do. And then for the third row, you can get okay value out of bone plating or conditioning. Probably bone plating as it gives you more effective HP early. And then for the fourth rune, you probably go with Revitalize. Your heals and shields, mostly just your heal though with Pyke, is 5% stronger, and then an additional 10% on targets below 40% health. But Pyke only really heals from his W, and the extra 5% on this really doesn't matter. And then for the secondary runes, you could run something like Perfect Timing and Cosmic Insight, giving you more cooldown reduction, and something like this if you're trying to be like as supportive as possible. But again, with these runes, the extra durability you gain from Aftershock and Bone Plating really isn't needed, or it's harder to make use out of it compared to other champions. As with Leona, when she goes in, it makes sense that enemies would hit her. With Pyke, she's pulling it, or with Pyke, he's pulling a target towards him, and then that target's off sides. There is instances in which you would E into multiple enemies, but if you land the stun, what's the point of Aftershock? Because the enemy's trying to get away, and they're not really turning and retaliating damage immediately. So there's a lot of anti-synergies with Aftershock and Pyke's kit compared to other champions that just use it better. So I think the best keystone for support and mid lane Pyke is going to be Hella Blades. With Hella Blades, you gain 110% attack speed whenever you attack an enemy champion for up to 3 attacks. No more than 3 seconds can elapse between that, and then it's on an 8-second cooldown. So it's effectively never on a cooldown, since it's always up for whenever you're going to be close to an enemy, basically. And then it adds a lot more damage whenever you land a hook, because whenever you land a hook, you have your Q into E, that's your basic combo, and then you have like 1 auto attack, and maybe you get 2 auto attacks off before the enemy flashes or something. But with Hella Blades, you can pull them. You don't even have to spend your E initially. You can just pull auto, and then use your E, and you've dealt a lot more damage to them. If you're dealing more damage to them, then you're getting them to lower amounts of HP, and then that sets you up for an ult. It doesn't even factor in your AD carries damage, and just simply having access to this extra damage in this way opens up Pyke's kit a lot too, because you're building a lot of AD items in Umbral Glaive, Ghostblade, etc. But it's really hard to get value out of that attack damage offered because you just don't have any ways to meaningfully get it off, or like get it off quick enough while you're on top of targets or when you're pulling targets, because usually it's just a pull into 1 auto, maybe 2, versus 3 or 4 with Hella Blades, and that damage that builds up becomes pretty significant. For the second rune, I think your best option is Cheap Shot, even though it might be tempting to run something like Sudden Impact as you get more lethality whenever you use a dash, or go invisible. I don't think it's needed either, as whenever you're dealing most of your damage, it's after your pull, so it's not just after your dash. With the Cheap Shot, you have multiple ways to proc it. Damaging a champion with impaired movement or actions deals bonus true damage, and it's only on a 4-second cooldown, so you can slow them with the Q, with the E. And then with that, you can also damage multiple targets with it. So I think Cheap Shot is generally more useful. And then adding true damage to your pull also it mixes up your damage values, but it also is just so much lamer for the enemy because you're just immediately dealing that damage as you're pulling them, versus having to spend the E and then damaging the enemy to get the damage out of sudden impact. For the third rune, I think you should go with Zombie Ward, since your first item is probably going to be Umbral Glaive. Zombie Ward's going to give you, it's going to spawn a ward whenever you clear them. So it's going to let you add extra vision to the map by taking out the enemy's wards. And then whenever you do so, you're also gaining bonus attack damage for doing so. And then the attack damage is translated into extra damage for Pyke. And then for the fourth rune, I think Ultimate Hunter is just the go-to on both mid lane and support, as with Ultimate Hunter, your ultimate is on a 5% cooldown, and then also every time you get a unique takedown, it reduces it even more, because Ultimate Hunter works on the Bounty Hunter stacks, and the Bounty Hunter stacks are based off unique takedowns, so getting a killer assist on the top laner, jungler, mid lane, AD carry, and support is all one stack, and then every single stack is going to be reducing the cooldown of Pyke's ultimate, and Pyke is really, really, really gated by his ultimate, and the more often that you have it up, just the more useful you can be. And since Pyke's ultimate is to execute champions, it's so likely that you're building up Ultimate Hunter way faster than other champions would be. It's really, 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 like really, really, really effective on him. For the secondary runes, in the support role, you have okay options in Triumph and Legend Tenacity. Triumph giving you health regen whenever you get a kill or assist, and then also giving you additional 20 gold on kills and assist. And then with Legend Tenacity in combination with Merc Treads, gives you a lot of survivability into a lot of support champions. And since you're playing the support role, you're probably playing against Leona, Nautilus, etc. So the Tenacity in combination with Merc Treads does go a long way. And then the shards would be Adaptive Force, and then you can run Magic Resist, as Pyke has a lot, or has a high base armor. So if you're playing into like Varus, Nautilus, Magic Resist would be completely fine. In the mid lane, the resistances would change depending on your lane matchup. If you're playing in the support role too, like Celerity and Water Walking also isn't bad, as you should primarily be looking to roam. And with Celerity and Water Walking, it helps you respond to Scuttle Crab fights, it helps you move into mid lane, it helps you respond to like Rift Herald fights, etc. Just helps you with your overall roaming, as a support, you're primarily moving through the river whenever you are roaming. Pyke can also get through mid lane without being seen because of his W. So you can move literally from bot lane to top lane even quicker with this rune combination versus having a little bit of tenacity and health regen. If you're not playing into a CC support at all, if you're playing into like Sona, Lulu, a mage support, etc., then I think Celerity and Water Walking is going to be giving you a lot better value, as you're able to roam against those champions earlier, and then there's no detriment of your AD carry being alone. And then roams against them, or attacking them in the river or the jungle becomes even stronger. Celerity also giving you movement speed on your W, so makes you even slipperier, so long that you max it second. And then the adaptive runes would, or the shards would stay the same. This rune setup would also work for mid lane, as it just helps you move to a side lane faster once you've cleared the mid wave, and that's really all you're looking to do on mid lane Pyke. Is roam to a side lane. Did you get a kill? Nice, good job, man. Congrats. You could also run Inspiration on mid or support with Perfect Timing and Cosmic Insight, giving you more cooldown reduction and giving you the one-time stopwatch. The one-time stopwatch can later become Guardian Angel or even Gargoyles for Pyke, but with that, you need to be, I don't know, it's like you're trading off a lot of roam potential for utility, which I don't think is really as useful for Pyke. You could also run like Futures Market in the mid lane, as it would give you access to Tiamat earlier, and then with Tiamat you'd be able to push out waves at timings in which you otherwise couldn't, and then through that you'd be able to roam just better because you would have the wave pushed out. So it is an option depending on the lane matchup. If you're playing into other roaming champions, I think Futures Market's completely fine, as you have to match their wave push a lot earlier. So that's really it for Pyke's support and mid lane runes. Again, I don't think that Aftershock is really that valuable in the way that like he can be played out now. So I think the extra damage that you get from Hella Blades, and then all the benefits you get from the Domination Tree in combination with like Sorcery or Precision Secondary, just outweighs like the durability and like the little bit of utility you gain from the Resolve Tree, as other champions, especially support champions, just do all that better. So yeah, if this video helped you, leaving a like on the video helps me. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. If you're interested in watching me talk or play League of Legends, you can check out my Twitch. It's in the description, twitch.tv/SollyNelson. If you think I was wrong, let me know. I don't know everything about every single champion, so yeah. Pyke, he was so strong last season, man.